A very good morning to all of you, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the last weekend. So now let's get back to studies. So guys, in the previous session, we started with material costing and we discussed few points that is related to procurement of material, and thereafter we started with the calculation of the value of the material that will be recorded in books of accounts. In that part, we discussed few points. That is, 1 second, guys. So in that part, we discussed few points. The basic funda is simple, that whatever the cost that is incurred till the factory gate will form part of cost of material. Further, the institute has given us few points. So we discussed all these points also, that is trade discount to be deducted from the cost of purchase, quantity discount to be deducted from the cost of purchase, cash discount being a conditional discount is not to be deducted. When talking about government subsidies, yes, it is to be deducted. Thereafter, road tax and toll tax, if it is borne by the buyer, yes, it is to be added to the cost. Thereafter, we discussed the GST part, wherein what if in case duty credit is available and not available. Thereafter, we discussed some points relating to custom duty also. Thereafter, the penalty and charges, wherein any types of fines, penalty, charges by whatever name called, and any sort of abnormal cost will never form part of cost of material. Thereafter, we discussed few expenditures also, that is insurance charges, commission and brokerage, freight inward. These 3 points, it is to be added to the cost of inventory if it is borne by the buyer. Thereafter, the cost of container also, that is what will be the treatment in case of returnable and non-returnable. I have already discussed this part in detail. Now let's proceed further with the next part, that is the last part, that is what will be the treatment of shortage. When talking about shortage of raw material, it may be either due to normal reasons or abnormal reasons. When talking about if it is a normal loss or if the shortage is due to normal reasons, then the good units will absorb the normal loss. The normal loss is to be absorbed by good units. When talking about abnormal loss or abnormal shortage, the value will be equal to the value of good units and it will be transferred to costing P&L. So if the shortage is due to normal reason, then it will be to be absorbed by good units. When talking about if it is due to abnormal reasons, then the value will be equal to the value of good units and it will be transferred to costing P&L. Now, what is the difference between normal and abnormal shortage? Let me discuss this with the help of an example. Let's say I'm the manufacturer of a health drink named Mangoes. Now, I'm the manufacturer of a health drink named Mangoes. Now, my raw material is mango. I do procure raw material directly from Ratnagiri. Now, as per the nature of product, that during the course of loading and unloading, कुछ percentage mangoes damage होते ही हैं. So we call it as the normal loss. I repeat again, it is the nature of product कि कुछ mangoes loading और unloading के time क्या होते हैं, damage होते ही हैं. So we call it as the normal loss because it is the nature of the product. Let's say another example. I'm into business of refining of crude oil and I do process crude oil. Now, during processing of crude oil, certain percentage will be evaporated, and that can be predicted well in advance. So that is called, we call as normal loss. So what is normal loss? Very simple. It can be estimated well in advance. It is due to normal reasons. We cannot avoid normal loss. It is bound to happen. But when talking about abnormal loss, let's take the same example wherein I'm the a health drink named mangoes. Now, during transit from Ratnagiri to my factory, let's say two of my vehicles met accident, and let's say 2,000 dozens of mangoes were spoiled because of this accident. So this accident is what? Due to abnormal reason. अगर हम लोग चाहते तो ये accident avoid कर सकते थे if the suitable measures are taken care of. So abnormal loss, we can say that we can avoid it. It is cannot be predicted well in advance. So that's why if the loss is due to, or if the shortage is due to abnormal reasons, then whatever the value of that shortage is, it is to be transferred to costing P&L. As far as when talking about normal loss, it can be predicted well in advance. So the value of normal loss will be absorbed by good unit. Now, how come? Let's say I have procured 1,000 dozens of mango at the rate rupees 270. So my total bill was 2,70,000. I can predict well in advance that during transit certain percentage will be damaged. Let's say 10%. So how much raw material I'll be receiving in my factory? Only 900 units. So earlier the cost of 2,70,000 was for 1,000 units. Now we can say that the cost of 2,70,000 will be for 900 units. The loss of 100 units will be absorbed by the remaining 900 units. Therefore, my new cost per dozen will be rupees 300 per dozen. So this is the difference between normal and abnormal shortage or loss. I repeat again, guys, normal loss, it can be predicted well in advance. Second point, it cannot be avoided. It is bound to happen. As far as the treatment, I've already discussed. When talking about abnormal loss, it is due to abnormal reasons. It can be avoided if suitable measures are taken care of. Now, this part I'll be discussing in depth in process costing. So as of now, this much explanation is more than sufficient. I request you guys to please copy the explanation. Very good. Good morning, Rajiv Kumar. Very good morning, Divya. Now, let's discuss one question relating to the calculation of the value of material. Yes, Mr. Tomar, when talking about abnormal loss, the value of abnormal loss will be equal to the value of good units, first point. And whatever the value as calculated will be transferred to costing P&L. I request you guys to please open your study material and be discussing illustration number 1. I request you guys to please open your study material. I'll be discussing illustration number 1, page number 2.14. Very good morning, Mr. Krishna. Very good morning, Jaydev Singh. Very good morning, Chinoy. I request you guys to please open your study material, page number 2.14. I'll be discussing illustration number 1. So let's start with illustration number 1. SKD Company Limited not registered under GST. So the company is not registered under GST. Now, from this line, we can figure out that no credit is available. It means what? Whatever the GST paid to the supplier will be added to the cost of raw material because we are not getting the credit of GST. So SKD Company Limited not registered under GST purchased material P from a company which is registered under GST. The following information is available for one lot of 1000 units of material purchase. So the details are given for 1000 units, wherein the listed price of one lot is 50,000, trade discount is given, it is to be deducted, SGST, CGST, since the credit is not available, so it will form part of cost of inventory. The cash discount being a conditional discount is not to be deducted. Further, freight and insurance, yes, if it is borne by the buyer, then it is to be added to the cost of inventory. Further, toll tax paid, again, if it is borne by the buyer, it is to be added to the cost of inventory. Demurrage charges, being an abnormal cost, is not to be added to the cost of inventory. Commission and brokerage on purchases, assuming that it is borne by the buyer, so it will be added to the cost of inventory. Now, amount deposit for returnable container is 6,000. However, we are getting the refund back 4,000. It means what? The cost paid from our pocket is how much? Only 2,000 rupees. Further, it is given that the other expenses are at the rate of 2% of the total cost. 20% of material shortage is due to normal reasons. The payment to the supplier was made within 20 days. It's not relevant at all. You are required to calculate the cost per unit of the material purchased to SKD Company Limited. Let's start with the solution, calculation of cost of material. I'm discussing illustration number 1. Calculation of value of material. So first, the purchase price. That is 50,000. The trade discount is given, that is 10% on the list price. So we'll deduct trade discount. That is 5,000. 45,000 is the net amount. In this, we will add GST at the rate of 12%. I'm directly writing GST, GST and SGST. So this is 5,400. Therefore, the total amount will be 50,400. Now let's proceed further. Freight and insurance, we will assume that it is borne by the buyer. We have to write the footnote also that we are assuming that freight and insurance are borne by the buyer. So freight and insurance is 3,400. Toll tax paid is 1,000. Demurrage charges, being an abnormal cost, will never form part of cost of inventory. As far as commission and brokerage is concerned, we have paid 2,000. Thereafter, the cost of returnable container. Herein, the amount deposited is given 6,000 and amount of refund on returning the container is 4,000. So 6,000 minus 4,000, 2,000. So this much is the cost that is incurred. Further, other expenses are 2% of the total cost. So it means that the cost till now is 98% of the total cost. So the cost calculated till now is 50,400 plus 3,400. That is 58,800. What is this? Other expenses are 2% of total cost. Now let's assume that the total cost is 100. If the other expenses are 2% of the total cost, then this will be 2%. So this amount will be 98% of the total cost. So we can easily calculate the total cost. That is 58,800 is 98. So how much will be the total amount? Very simple, guys. So 58,000 is 800 is 98%. So how much will be 100%? Very simple, 60,000. And this will be 1,200. So this is the cost of material that we have procured. Now, since the question is asking us to calculate the cost per unit, herein, when talking about the cost per unit, the input was of how many units? 1,000 units. They have given that there is a normal loss expected at the rate of 20%. It is given in the question that normal shortage or normal loss, normal shortage is due to normal reasons, that is 20%. It means out of 1,000 units, 200 units is normal loss. So how much raw material we are receiving at the factory? 800 units. So material received, (800 units). So the cost per unit will be how much? The cost per unit will be 75. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your query. Mr. Darshan, GST is to be paid after deducting the cash discount. Rest, as far as other points are concerned, it will be given clearly in the question. Okay, Muninder Tomar sir, 1200 kahan se aaya? So Mr. Muninder, 58,800 is the cost that is till now, and the total cost is 60,000. So the balance cost will be how much? 1,200. Alternatively, we can say 60,000 minus 58,800, you can say, or 2% of 60,000. This is how we calculated 1,200. Okay, sir, how come we'll explain 2%? Okay. No worries, Shubham, that's completely okay. Mr. Krishnan, if you have any doubts, you can please post your query. Thank you so much, Rajesh Panda. Very good. Darshan, it will be given in the question clearly. Here also in this question, it is given that of the list price, we have to deduct trade discount. I hope my board is visible to all. And hopefully, Mr. Krishnan, your query is resolved. Muninder Tomar, hopefully your query is resolved. Rajesh Panda sir, how we calculated the total cost of 60,000? So see, Rajesh, 58,800 is the cost till now. And it is given in the question that apart from this cost, there is one more cost that is 2% of the total cost. We don't have total cost. We do not have this data also. So let's assume that the total cost is 100. Let's assume that the total cost is 100. How much will be the other expenses? 2% of 100, that is 2. And how much will be the balance cost? That is 98% of the total 100%. So this 58,800 is what? 98% of the total cost. So how much will be the total cost? This 58,800 is 98% of the total cost. So how much will be the total cost? Very good morning, Bhavani. Abhay, I think you have not attended the last lecture. I have explained that cash discount, being a conditional discount, is not to be deducted from the cost of material. Krishna, I think you have not attended the last session. Again, demurrage charges being an abnormal cost, and the nature of demurrage charges is morely like a penal charges. So that's why it is not to be deducted. It is not to be added in the cost of material. I repeat again, guys. Any sort of abnormal cost, penalties and fines by whatever name call is not to be added in the cost of material. Now guys, examiner को कोई भी मौका मत दीजिए कि they will deduct your marks. After solving this question, do write your footnotes. The first point can be that being assuming that the freight and insurance is borne by the buyer, do write a footnote that assuming that the freight and insurance is borne by the buyer, again toll tax paid is borne by the buyer, again commission and brokerage, even though the question is silent, we have assumed that it is borne by the buyer. One more point we can add, that demurrage charges being an abnormal cost is not to be added to the cost of raw material. Admin sir, Manish sir, are you there? My board is visible, na? Yes? Hello? Okay, cool. Smita, I request you to please view the lecture over laptop. It will be more helpful for you. So guys, we are done with this part, that is calculation of cost of raw material. I wish I could give you a question in the live session, but the time is running and we have limited time only. So let's proceed further. So let's proceed further with the next part of the chapter. Now, we have discussed two parts of the chapter. That is, the first part what we discussed is the procurement process. Thereafter, we discussed that how to calculate the value of material received. Now, let's proceed further with the next part of the chapter. That is, what all records the storekeeper has to maintain or the company has to maintain to ensure that there is no unauthorized usage of stock or there is no theft of stock. So what all records the storekeeper has to maintain or the company has to maintain? There are 3 records which the company generally do maintain. That is bin card, stock control card, and stores ledger. When talking about the bin card and stock control card, these 2 cards are maintained by storekeeper. These 2 cards are maintained by storekeeper. Further, these 2 cards contain only the quantitative data. That is, how much quantity of raw material is received, how much quantity of raw material is issued, how much quantity of material returned. So this stock control card and bin card contain the quantitative data only, not the monetary data, not in terms of rupees. Simply they are concerned about what? कितना raw material आया, कितना raw material issue किया, कितना raw material return आया. So maintained by the storekeeper contains only quantitative data relating to issue, receipt, and return of material. When talking about the stores ledger, it is maintained by the accounting department. And it contains the quantitative data as well as the monetary data. So contain So I hope this part is clear. When talking about bin card and stock control card, it is maintained by the storekeeper. Second point, it contains only quantitative data. That is, let's say 5,000 kgs material aaya, so input is 5,000. 2,000 kgs is issued for production, so minus 2,000. 1,000 kgs is returned by the production department, then we'll add back the material that is returned by the production department. So this contain only quantitative data, whereas stores ledger, which is maintained by the accounting department, it contains the quantitative data as well as data in monetary terms. Now the point is, what is the difference between bin card and stock control card? ये भी storekeeper maintain करता है, ये भी storekeeper maintain करता है. Let me discuss this with the help of an example. Let's say I have taken a premise on rent. Let's say I have taken a premise on rent, and in that premise there are 10 sections. So each and every section will be treated as a separate bin. So what is bin? We can say a space or a section or a container. So what is bin? Bin is a space or a section or a container. So I repeat again, I have taken a premise on rent wherein there are 10 sections. So every section will be treated as a bin, and for every bin, a separate bin card is to be maintained. So in aggregate, the storekeeper has to maintain 10 bin cards containing the details of the bin. That is, how much raw material is issued from the bin, how much raw material is received in the bin, and how much raw material is returned to the bin. When talking about the stock control card, it contains the details of the entire premise. जो 10 bins है, उनका collective data जो है, वो stock control card में रहता है. So it contains the details of the full premise. That is, of all the 10 sections, this stock control card contains the data. Wherein again, the details relating to issue of material, receipt of material, and return of material is recorded. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your queries. Further, I request you guys to please copy this part. Rajesh Panda, when talking about the record or what the storekeeper do record, that is the data relating to receipt of material ki kitna material aaya, the data relating to issue of material, that is how much raw material we have issued to the production department, and how much that material is returned either to the supplier or we have received the material returned from the production department. Manish sir, Manish sir, the font size is visible, I think. Clear, na? Everything is clear, na? Okay, fine. So this is all what about the records the storekeeper has to maintain. So now we have discussed three parts of the chapter, where in the first part, that is the material procurement process. Thereafter, the second part, what we discussed is relating to valuation of material received. And the third part is also over, which we have discussed, that is what all records the storekeeper has to maintain. Now let's proceed further with the next part of the chapter, the most important part of the chapter, that is inventory control. Now, what is inventory control? Very important, guys. Inventory control ensures that we do have sufficient stock in our stores so that my active production is not interrupted, further avoiding any sort of overstocking. What inventory control ensures? Inventory control ensures that sufficient stock is maintained in stores so that active production is not interrupted, further avoiding overstocking. So what is inventory control? Inventory control ensures that we do have sufficient stock in our store so that our active production is not interrupted, further avoiding any sort of overstocking. Overstocking को वो avoid करता है, and it ensures that we do have sufficient stock in our store so that our active production is not interrupted. When talking about the techniques of inventory control, we'll be discussing these techniques one by one. The first part is setting quantitative level. The second technique of inventory control is on the basis of relative classification. The third part, what we'll be discussing, is using ratio analysis, using ratios. And the fourth one is physical control. So these are the four techniques of inventory. These are the four techniques of inventory control, wherein the most important part is setting quantitative levels. Thereafter, on the basis of relative classification. Third is using ratios, and the last is physical control. Now, these four methods This method is the most important method from examination point of view. This method is the most important method from examination point of view. इस मेथड में मोस्ट ऑफ प्रैक्टिकल पार्ट कवर होगा चैप्टर का एंड एग्जामिनर in 80 to 90% cases ask question on this part, that is setting quantitative levels. So we'll be discussing this part in detail, but before this I request you guys to please copy this part. We have started with inventory control, wherein inventory control ensures that there is sufficient stock in our stores so that my active production is not interrupted, further avoiding any sort of overstocking. So I request you guys to please copy this part. Enough of discussion on him. Enough of discussion on bin card, stock control card, and stores ledger, because this part is not that important. I have to discuss more on this part specifically. So if the time permits, I'll surely resolve your query, Jagat Babu and Himanshu. But as of now, this much of discussion is sufficient. So let's start with the most important part of the chapter, that is setting quantitative levels. Now let me give you a brief about what all we'll be discussing in this part. In this part, we have to set some levels, some standards. Now, the first point what we'll be discussing in this part, that is how much quantity we should order. How much quantity we should order. The second part what we'll be discussing in this section is that now we have identified that how much quantity to order. Now the next point comes that when to place an order. Order kab karna hai. Thereafter, we'll be discussing the maximum level, minimum level, average level, buffer stock level, and danger level. So all these are the points we'll be discussing one by one. So let's start with this part wherein we have to start with how much quantity to order. How much quantity to order. That is reorder level. Sorry, reorder quantity. How much quantity to order. That is reorder quantity. By the end of the session, this part will be clear to you, Bhumika, don't worry. So now let's start with reorder quantity. Now, let me discuss this with the help of a practical situation. Let's say I'm a manufacturer and my annual requirement of raw material is, let's say, 10,000 units. I repeat again, guys, I am a manufacturer and I have an annual requirement of raw material of 10,000 units. I have the options that I can order it in parts also, and I can order these 10,000 units in one go. Now, let's say if I order these 10,000 units in one go. Now, as soon as I receive the material, एक सेपरेट सेट ऑफ कॉस्ट इनकर होगा. एज सुन एज आई रिसीव दीज 10,000 kgs ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल और 10,000 यूनिट्स ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल, कुछ कॉस्ट अट्रैक्ट होगा. we call it as the cost of handling the inventory. ये जो 10,000 यूनिट्स हमारे पास आए हैं उनको हैंडल करने के लिए कुछ कॉस्ट इनकर होगा. दैट इज व्हाट वी कॉल एज द कॉस्ट ऑफ हैंडलिंग द इन्वेंट्री, और वी कॉल इट एज द कैरिंग कॉस्ट. Now, what all cost will be incurred to handle the inventory? Let's say, since my annual requirement is 10,000 units and I've ordered these 10,000 units in one shot. So once I receive these goods, I have to arrange a space to store these 10,000 units. So we can say my rent cost will increase. So my rent cost will increase because अगर मैं ये इंस्टॉलमेंट्स में ऑर्डर करता तो शायद मुझे इतना स्टोरेज स्पेस नहीं लगता. But since I have ordered 10,000 units in one go, so I have to arrange a space to store these 10,000 units. Now the second point, since so much of stock is involved, so there are chances of pilferage, obsolescence, scrap, wastage also. Further, since I have ordered 10,000 units in one go, I have to make the payment to the supplier immediately. So we can say my funds, which I could have used for the full year, are blocked now. So there is a opportunity cost in the form of interest also. That is my funds, which I could have used it for a full year. Now they are blocked and I have paid to the supplier. So we can say opportunity cost in the form of interest. So my point is very simple, that if my annual requirement is 10,000 units, it is not advisable to order these 10,000 units in one go. Why? Because I have to incur the cost of holding the inventory, that is my carrying cost will shoot up like anything, because मुझे ये 10,000 units को hold करने का जो खर्चा आने वाला है वो काफी बढ़ जाएगा. So it is not advisable to order 10,000 units in one go. Now, what if I order in installments? See, the first option is either order 10,000 units in one go. अगर ऐसा करते हैं तो my carrying cost shoots up like anything. Now the point is, it is advisable to order in installments. So guys, do make a note of it that every time you place an order, again कुछ cost incur होता है. The first cost we can say is the documentation cost. We have already discussed in the material procurement process that there are so many documents, bills, challans need to be prepared. So documentation cost बढ़ जाता है. Apart from this, since the goods will be coming from supplier premise to my premise, so again my transportation cost will increase for every order. Apart from this, I can say one more point, wherein once the goods reaches my factory gate, once the raw material reaches my factory gate, I have to carry out inspection every time, because to check whether the raw material received is as per the specification or not. So the point is very simple, that as soon as you place an order, few costs are incurred, that is the documentation cost or transportation cost, or I have to carry out the inspection to check that whether the goods are as per the specification or not. So it is not advisable to order in many installments. So the point is, अगर एक साथ order करते हैं तो हमारी carrying cost shoot up हो जाता है. If we order in installments, or ordering cost goes up. So the point is how much quantity to order. So if we order in installments, my ordering cost shoots up, that is the cost to place an order shoots up. When talking about the examples of ordering cost, we can say the transportation cost, so अगर हम लोग एक साथ ऑर्डर करते हैं तो हमारा कैरिंग कॉस्ट शूट अप हो जाता है. इफ यू ऑर्डर इन इंस्टॉलमेंट्स माय ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट विल शूट अप. नाउ द पॉइंट इज हाउ मच क्वांटिटी वी शुड ऑर्डर so that we can maintain the balance in carrying cost and ordering cost, or we can say how much quantity we should order so that my total cost or overall cost is minimum. So the answer to this question is economic order quantity. So the question is how much quantity we should order. That my overall cost is minimum. And the answer to this question is the reorder quantity, or we call it as economic order quantity. That is EOQ. कितना क्वांटिटी ऑर्डर करे कि हमारा ऑर्डरिंग कॉस्ट और कैरिंग कॉस्ट में बैलेंस बना रहे एंड माय ओवरऑल कॉस्ट इज मिनिमम. सो द आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन इज दैट वी शुड ऑर्डर इकोनॉमिक ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी. नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज हाउ टू कैलकुलेट इकोनॉमिक ऑर्डर क्वांटिटी, दैट वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग इन डिटेल. I request you guys to please copy this part. When talking about the carrying cost, what is carrying cost? Cost of holding the inventory. When talking about what are the examples of carrying cost, that is rent we have to pay because we have to arrange the space for these 10,000 units. Apart from this, there are chances of scrap, pilferage, obsolescence. Apart from this, since we are paying in one go to the supplier, so I won't be able to use the benefits of the fund that are blocked now. So we can say there is an interest cost, or we can say opportunity cost in the form of interest also. So this is carrying cost. When ordering cost, if we place an order, for every order we have to incur the separate set of expenses. That is, for every order we have to incur documentation cost, transportation cost, inspection cost. If you guys have any queries in this part, you guys can please post your query. It's already uploaded, Soumya Kant. Jagat Babu, till now I have discussed why EOQ, what is the importance of economic order quantity. Now we'll be discussing that how to calculate economic order quantity. I hope everything is clear till now. Now guys, let's calculate economic order quantity. Now guys, to calculate economic order quantity or reorder quantity, we need 3 points. We need 3 elements. The first one is the annual consumption. I'm writing this part in red. The first part what we need is annual consumption. That is, पूरे साल भर में हमारा रॉ मटेरियल का रिक्वायरमेंट कितना होगा. अगेन आई हैव यूज्ड द वर्ड एनुअल कंजम्पशन. So guys, do make a note of it, that if in question it is given that monthly demand of raw material or daily demand of raw material or weekly demand of raw material, you have to calculate, you have to convert it into annual data. So for calculation of reorder quantity or economic order quantity, we need annual consumption. Now the second point what we need is carrying cost. Again, very important, per unit per annum. Again, the words that are important are per unit per annum. Again, if the carrying cost per annum is not given, you have to convert it into per annum. Guys, the points that are important are marked in box. So if the carrying cost per annum is not given, then you have to convert it in per annum. Sometimes, to confuse you guys, examiner give questions that carrying cost incurred per month is so and so. So guys, do make a note of it. Do remember that carrying cost should always be per annum, per unit per annum. As far as consumption is concerned, we need annual consumption. Do make a note of it. Maximum number of students जो गलती करते हैं वो यहीं पे करते हैं कि either they take daily consumption, weekly consumption, monthly consumption. The language itself is clear that you need annual consumption, thereafter carrying cost per unit per annum. Now the next point what we need is ordering cost per order. Again, we need the ordering cost, but not the total ordering cost. We need per order. So these are the three important points that are required to calculate economic order quantity. Let's say there is a question wherein my annual consumption is 10,000 kgs or units. My annual consumption is 10,000 units. My carrying cost per unit per annum is 0.16 rupees. And let's say ordering cost per order. Ordering cost per order is, let's say, rupees 50. So we have all the three elements, that is the annual consumption, you need 3 points, that is annual consumption. We do have annual consumption. Thereafter, carrying cost per unit per annum. We do have carrying cost per unit per annum. Thereafter, the ordering cost, that is rupees 50 per order. Now the point is how to calculate economic order quantity. ऐसी quantity हमें निकालनी है order quantity कि my overall cost is minimum. So the point is how to calculate economic order quantity. So let's use trial and error approach to calculate economic order quantity. Let's say I'm taking the random figures. Let's say if I order 1,000 units in one go. Let's take another case wherein if I order 2,500 units in one go. Another case, let's say 5,000 units in one go and 10,000 units in one go. So I'm using trial and error method wherein I have taken the random order quantity wherein what if in case if I order 1,000 units in one go, 2,500 units in one go, 5,000 units in one go and 10,000 units in one go. Now let's calculate the cost in all these 4 cases. Now before starting with the calculation of cost, there are 3 costs, that is the carrying cost per unit, the carrying cost, ordering cost, and when talking about annual consumption means what? The consumption of raw material, and we have to make the payment to the supplier for the same. 1 second, guys. So now, what if in case if I order 1000 units, 2500 units, 5000 units and 10,000 units? Now the point is there are three type of cost involved. That is the cost we are paying to the supplier, the carrying cost and ordering cost. Now guys, in all these four situations, that is the cost that we are paying to the supplier for annual consumption will remain same. Whether we order 1000 units, whether we order 10,000 units in one go, the amount that is paid to the supplier will always remain same, assuming that the supplier is not offering us any quantity discount. So the point is this cost is completely irrelevant to calculate economic order quantity. Why? Because if we order 1000 units in one installment or 2500 or 5000 or 10,000, since the supplier is not offering us any quantity discount, तो जितना amount 1000 के केस में पे करना है, टुकड़ों में उतना ही amount 10,000 एक साथ पे करना है. It doesn't make any difference. So this cost is not at all relevant for calculating economic order quantity. So these two costs are relevant because if we order in installments, बहुत ज्यादा installments होगा तो ordering cost will be high. If we order the units in one go, my carrying cost will be high. So let's check how much is the carrying cost incurred in all ordering cost and carrying cost is incurred in all these four situations. Now when talking about the ordering cost, my annual requirement is 10,000 units. When talking about the ordering cost, my annual requirement is 10,000 units and I do place an order of 1000 units in one go. It means what? How many times I have to place an order? My annual requirement is how many units? 10,000 units. In one go, I do place an order for how many units? 1000 units. So how many times I have to place an order? Very simple. I have to place an order for 10 times. Again, my annual consumption is 10,000 and my order size is 2500 unit. It means how many times I have to place an order? Again, 4 times. Now, my annual requirement is 10,000 units and every time I place an order for 5,000 units. So how many times I have to place an order? Twice. And in that case, my annual requirement is 10,000 units and I'm ordering 10,000 units in one go. So how many times I have to place an order? 1. So we have calculated the number of times I have to place an order. So we can easily calculate the ordering cost. We can easily calculate the ordering cost. That is the cost per order is how much? 50 rupees. The ordering cost per order is how much? 50 rupees. And for every order, we have to incur 50 rupees. So total order placed is 10. It means when we order 1000 units in one go, then the total ordering cost will be how much? 500 for 10,000 units. How much cost? 500 rupees for 10,000 units we have to spend for the ordering cost. Similarly, for one order, we do spend 50 rupees. So for 4 orders, how much amount we have to spend? 2. Similarly, for one order, we are spending 50 rupees. So for 2 orders, how much? 100. And in this case, we are placing only one order of 10,000 units. So at this point, my ordering cost will be minimal. I hope this part is clear to all. If you guys have any queries, just waiting for your queries in ordering cost. Waiting for your queries, guys. Again, want to say that there are no formulas in cost accounting. It's all logic and concept. So don't try to memorize the formula. Try to focus more on concept. You will be able to solve any type of question. So don't try to memorize the formula. Ordering cost का formula ये है, carrying cost का formula ये है, EOQ का formula ये है. Don't try to memorize the formula. If you guys have any queries in this part, waiting for your queries. Shubham, Ustad Singh, Guri, Sudhanshu, Bhumika, Soumyakant, Arya, Jagat Babu, Supriya, any doubts? Muninder Tomar, Kiran Shukla, Chinmoy, Krishna, anyone having any doubts? So now this part is over wherein how to calculate ordering cost. Now we have to calculate carrying cost. Now guys, when talking about carrying cost, let's say I place an order for 1000 units. Let's say I place an order for 1000 units. So now as and when I receive these 1000 units, carrying cost किस पे incur होगा? 1000 units पे at the rate of 0.16 per unit per annum. But my point is ये 1000 units are going to remain constant for the full year? No. Once I receive these 1000 units, what I will do? I will issue to the production department for consumption. So my stock, let's say I have issued 200 units. So thereafter my stock will be how much? 800 units. If I issue 300 units more for consumption, then my stock will be 500. Then again, if I have issued, अगर फिर मैंने अगर कोई और raw material issue किया, let's say it goes to 100 and thereafter 0. So my point is very simple that ये आज जो 1000 rupees, sorry 1000 units पे carrying cost लग रहा है, कल ये 800 पे लगेगा. Thereafter on 500 लगेगा, 100 लगेगा, 50 लगेगा और फिर ये 0 पे लगेगा. So the point is 1000 if we are receiving 1000 units after placing an order of 1000 units, when we receive these 1000 units, yes, I do admit that currently 1000 units पे carrying cost लगेगा, but thereafter it will gradually reduce to 0. So the point is now if we order 1000 units in one go, तो carrying cost किस पे लगा है? क्योंकि आज ये 1000 पे लग रहा है, तो कल ये 500 पे लगेगा, उसके बाद ये 200 पे लगेगा, and when the entire batch, the entire lot is issued to the production department for production, it will become 0. So the carrying cost will be levied on 0 unit. So the point is carrying cost कैसे calculate करें? On 1000, 800, 500, 100 और 0. Because आज अगर ये 1000 पे लग रहा है तो कल ये 0 पे भी लगेगा. So the point is on what quantity we should calculate the carrying cost. So it is advisable कि आज ये 1000 units पे लग रहा है तो कल ये 0 units पे भी लगेगा. So better take the average. So that is 1000 plus 0 divided by 2 into 0.16. So the point is carrying cost is always calculated on average quantity. Why average? I have already discussed this part in detail. So herein 1000 divided by 2, that is 500, 500 into 0.16. 500 into 0.16, this will be 80. So आज कैरिंग कॉस्ट अगर 1000 यूनिट्स पे लग रहा है तो बाद में ये 800 पे लगेगा, 500 पे लगेगा, 400 पे लगेगा और 0 पे लगेगा. So the point is on what quantity we should calculate the ordering cost. So the point is the best approach is that use average and calculate the carrying cost for on the same. So herein, let's take the second situation wherein if I order 2500 units, how much will be my average quantity divided by 2 into 0.16. So this will be 200. Thereafter 5000 units divided by 2 into 0.16. And once if we order 10,000 units in one go, my carrying cost will be the highest carrying cost in this situation. If you guys have any doubts in this part, that is the calculation of carrying cost, you guys can please post your queries. Why carrying cost is calculated on average quantity? I hope this part is clear to all. Waiting for your queries, guys. See again, the cost of the big truck will be on the higher side as compared to the small truck. Shubham. Waiting for your queries, guys. Yes, Bhumika, Sudhanshu, Kiran, any doubts? Muninder, Bhavani, Shubham, Darshan, Miss Guduri, Ustad Singh, any doubts? Now, guys, what we can see is that there is an inverse relationship between ordering cost and carrying cost, because as the number of order increase, the ordering cost is on the higher side. But since we have only limited inventory in our hand, my carrying cost is minimum. So we can say, agar ordering cost बढ़ता है, तो carrying cost decreases. And if the carrying cost is increasing, it means the ordering cost is decreasing. So we have calculated the ordering cost and carrying cost. Now let's calculate the total cost. 500 is the ordering cost, 80 is the carrying cost. So total cost is how much? 580. 200 plus 200, this is 400. This is 500 and this is 850. So herein we can say this cost is minimum. It means what? At 2000, if we order 2500 units in one go, my overall cost is minimum. As far as the amount paid to the supplier will always remain same. So this part is not at all relevant for decision making, because the supplier is not offering us any sort of quantity discount. So the amount that is paid to the supplier is not at all relevant. The costs that are relevant are ordering cost and carrying cost. And as per the solution, if we order 2500 units in one go, at that point, my total cost is minimum. And further, we can see, guys, that at this point, we have got the equilibrium point wherein at this point, my carrying cost is equals to ordering cost. So there are 2 points. First point, at economic order quantity, my total cost is minimum. Second point, very important point, at economic order quantity, my ordering cost will be equal to my carrying cost. If you guys have any doubts, so we can say the conclusion part, at economic order quantity, my total cost will be minimum. Further, at economic order quantity, ordering cost will be equal to carrying cost. Ordering cost will be equal to carrying cost. Anupam Tiwari, what is the purpose of reorder quantity? As I told you guys, if we order the entire units in one go, my carrying cost will shoot up. So herein in this case, if I order 10,000 units in one go, my carrying cost is on the higher side. And if I order in installments, my ordering cost will shoot up. Say here in the number of installments are highest at this point, so my ordering cost is on the higher side. So the point is, economic order quantity is that quantity wherein my ordering cost is equals to my carrying cost and my total cost is minimum. When talking about, there are few queries, sir, please explain. एक बार carrying cost repeat कर दीजिए. Okay, so now when talking about carrying cost, guys, for the North Indian who are not that good in English, so for them I'm giving an Hindi explanation. Let's say 1000 units मैंने order किया. Now as soon as I receive 1000 units, आज carrying cost कितने पे लगेगा? 1000 units पे. But these units will be gradually issued to the production department for consumption. So 1000 units से stock हमारा कम होगा, 900 होगा, 800 होगा, 500 होगा, 400 होगा, 350 होगा, thereafter 200, 100 and 0. So the point is, आज carrying cost 1000 पे लग रहा है, but future में वो कम quantity पे लगेगा. So the point is, and at the end it will be 0. So the point is, on what amount, what quantity we should calculate the carrying cost. So herein the best approach is better take the average. That is, आज अगर 1000 पे लग रहा है तो कल ये 0 पे भी लगेगा. So 1000 plus 0 divided by 2 into 1.6. So that is the concept, that why we do calculate carrying cost on average quantity. No, Shubham, at economic order quantity, my total cost will be minimum. Further, ordering cost is equals to carrying cost. So this is the concept. Now, In study material, they have provided the formula. As I told you guys, there are no formulas in cost accounting. Let's derive how this, let's find out how this formula is derived. I request you guys to first please copy this explanation. Yes, Sudhanshu. It helps us in deciding that kitna quantity order kare, so that we can maintain a trade-off between the carrying cost and ordering cost, and to get the cost which is minimum. Waiting for your queries, guys. Now, as I told you guys, that to calculate economic order quantity, we need three elements, that is the annual consumption, the second point we need is carrying cost per unit per annum, and the next is ordering cost per order. This is all what we need to calculate economic order quantity. Further, as discussed, at economic order quantity, the ordering cost is equals to carrying cost. Now, let's assume that we call annual consumption as A, carrying cost as C, and will name ordering cost as O. Now, as already discussed, that at economic order quantity, my ordering cost is equals to carrying cost. Now, how we calculated ordering cost? Very simple. My annual consumption was 10,000 units. In the previous question, my annual consumption was 10,000 units. So first we calculated the number of orders, that is divided by the installments. So we got number of orders, that is 10, into we multiplied the ordering cost. This is how we got 500 in the previous question. So 10,000 is what? My annual consumption. Whole divided by 1000 is what? My order quantity into ordering cost per order. This was the formula for ordering cost. That is what we used. Again, there are no formulas. This is a simple logic that I've already discussed. When talking about carrying cost, what we did? 1000 units divided by 2. That is the average quantity 500 into the carrying cost per unit per annum. That is 0.16. This is how I got 80 rupees. So again, what all formula I have used? Very simple. 1000 unit is what? My order quantity divided by 2 into C. So this is how we calculated ordering cost and carrying cost in the previous question. Now let's simplify it. So cross multiply. So 2 into A into O. This should be equal to OQ square into C. Thereafter, 2 into A into O divided by C is equals to OQ square. Thereafter, under root of 2 into A into O divided by C is equals to order quantity, or we call it as order quantity, or we call as economic order quantity, because at this point my total cost will be minimum. So this is the formula that is given in study material. So from examination point of view, you have to apply this formula. But guys, being you guys are studying for CA, you should know that what is the logic behind this formula. Because once you are thorough with the concepts, you can solve any type of question. So that was the logic behind this formula. That is how this formula is prepared. I have discussed in detail. If you guys have any doubts in this calculation, you guys can tell me. As per the previous question also, my annual consumption was 10,000. My ordering cost per order was 50 and my carrying cost was 0.16. So my order quantity will be how much? 2,500 units. You can apply the formula, that is 2 into A was my annual consumption, that is 10,000 units. My carrying cost is rupees 616 per unit per annum, and my ordering cost was 50 rupees in the previous question. So 2,500 unit will be calculated as per this formula. So if you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your query. Again, I want to tell you guys, there are no formulas in cost accounting. Just try to memorize the concept. Trust me, you will be able to solve any type of question. So from examination point of view, if you find a question on economic order quantity, no need to do all this exercise of trial and error method. Very simple. Write this formula, apply this formula and solve the question. But guys, you should be aware about that what is the logic behind this formula. So waiting for your queries, guys. And I request you guys to please copy this derivation. Vaishali Bindal, sir, carrying cost annually given in the question. If the carrying cost is not given annually, you have to convert it into annual data. Yes, you can use the short form in exams also. The formula is 2 into A into O divided by C. This is the formula for order quantity, or we can say economic order quantity. Yes, it's must to write the formula. जो भी मन में आए वो मन में मत रखिए. Better write it in your solution sheet, because examiner is not aware about that what you know. So whatever you are writing in the paper, you will get marks for it. Thank you so much, Rushita Sharma. Thank you so much, Rajesh. Anyone else having any doubts? Yes, it will be clearly given in the question, guys. Waiting for your queries, guys. Avdesh Kumar, I repeat again, yes, you have to write the formula in exams. Ishita, any doubts? Himanshu, Muninder, Ashish Prajapati, Supriya, Ustad Singh, Vaishali, Naveen, Krishnan, Kiran Shukla, any doubts? Okay, so now let's proceed with the practical question. I hope you guys have copied this part. Today there will be no break because we are in short of time. I have to complete the chapter, guys. Thank you so much, Arya. Thank you so much, Shubham. See, there is a query from Imanshu Patak, sir, how to convert monthly to per annum. So very simple. If the monthly data is given multiplied by 12, it will be per annum, my dear. So guys, now let's discuss a practical question. I request you guys to please open your study material. I'm discussing a question from study material. I request you guys to please open your study material. जिसके पास hard copy है, please open your hard copy, and those who don't have hard copy, please download it from ICAI portal. I'm discussing illustration number 5 from study material. The page number is 2.24. Page 2.24 of the new study material, illustration number 5. जिसके पास हार्ड कॉपी है, प्लीज ओपन द हार्ड कॉपी, एल्स डाउनलोड इट फ्रॉम ICAI portal. I am referring page number 2.23, in fact not 24. Sorry, 2.24 only. So let's start with the practical question. Compute economic order quantity and total cost for the following. So my annual demand is 5,000 units. My unit price, that is the cost of these 5,000 unit, is ordering cost per order is 16. Now, when talking about the storage cost, it is 2% per annum, interest rate is 12% per annum, and obsolescence rate is 6% per annum. So, interest cost क्या होता है? Carrying cost होता है. Obsolescence cost also I have already discussed, that is the carrying cost, and storage cost, the name itself says to store the inventory, so that is carrying cost. So, carrying cost per annum is how much? 2%, 12%, and 6%. So, in aggregate, 2%, 12%, and 6%. So total 20%. 20% of what? Rupees 20. Because the price of raw material is how much? 20. So of this 20% we have to spend for the carrying, or for the carrying cost. So we can say carrying cost will be how much? 20 into 20%, that is 4. The cost per unit is 20. So the carrying cost is 20% per unit per annum. So my total cost, carrying cost per unit per annum will be how much? Rupees 4. If you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can please post your queries. Waiting for your queries, guys. So now let's calculate economic order quantity. For calculation of economic order quantity, we need 3 elements. That is annual consumption. We have the annual consumption, that is 5,000 units is the demand. So 5,000 is my demand. Unit price is not required, but yes, ordering cost per order is 16 rupees, and we have calculated the carrying cost, that is storage cost is 2%, interest cost is 12%, and obsolescence rate is 6%. So in aggregate, 20% is spent on 20% we do spend of on carrying cost. So 20% of what? The unit price. Why we have calculated on 20 rupees? See, मेरे product का cost 20 rupees है. तो my product cost is 20 rupees and my cost is 20%. So it means what? The cost will be on per unit. So 20 into 20%. Further, I have already said that carrying cost should be per unit per annum. So the cost per unit is 20 and the carrying cost is how much? 20% per annum. So that's why I have calculated carrying cost on rupees 20. Now let's calculate economic order quantity. You have to write the formula, guys. Under root 2 into A into O divided by C. Therefore, under root 2 into A. A is what? My annual consumption 5,000. My ordering cost is how much? 16. My carrying cost is how much? 4. So how much will be my economic order quantity? $200 units. Further, the question is asking us to calculate the total cost also. So we have already calculated economic order quantity. Now we can easily calculate the total cost also. Calculation of total cost. Now, purchase price. How much quantity we are purchasing? 5,000 units. At what price? At the rate 20. So this will be 1 lakh. When talking about ordering cost, we can easily calculate ordering cost. Very simple, guys. How to calculate ordering cost? My annual requirement is how much? 5,000 units. My annual requirement is 5,000. Now, we do place 200 units order in one go. So how many times I have to place an order? Very simple. My order quantity is 200 in every case. So 5,000 divided by 200, it means what? How many times I have to place an order? 25 times I have to place an order. How many times I have to place an order? 25 times. Into the cost per order is how much? 16. So my ordering cost will be how much? 400 in aggregate. When talking about carrying cost is always calculated on average inventory. So how much is the order quantity? 200 divided by 2 into carrying cost per unit per annum is 4. So this is again 400. So we can see that at this point my ordering cost is equals to my carrying cost and the total cost will be 1,00800. So this is how you guys have to solve the questions in exams. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your query. Waiting for your queries, guys. Very good, Bhumika. Very good, Kiran. Waiting for your queries, guys. In the next part also, the question is asked us to calculate economic order quantity if the price is 12.8 instead of 20. So if the price is 12.8 instead of 20, then in that case, my carrying cost per unit per annum will change. So my revised carrying cost will be how much? 12.8 into 20%. So my revised carrying cost will be how much? 2.56. And accordingly, we will calculate economic order quantity. So waiting for your queries, guys. Guys, waiting for your queries, else I'll put up my query in front of you. So there is a query from my side, but first I'm giving you an opportunity. If you guys have any queries, please do post your queries, else I'm going to give you a question in this session and I want you guys to solve that question. So if you guys have any queries, whatever the queries you have, please do post your queries. Perfect, Rajesh. Very good, Guduri. Very good, Rushita Sharma. Very good, Sudhanshu. Bhumika, very good. Yes, anyone having any doubts? I request you guys to please copy this part also. Very good, Rajesh. Kiran, any doubts? Bhumika, Darshan, Muninder, any doubts? Sudhanshu, Arya, Jagat Babu Sharma, Mr. Sundar. Shubham, there is one more question wherein if the price is 12.80, then again you have to calculate economic order quantity. So if the price is reduced from 20 to 12.80, my carrying cost will also change, my dear. So now a question for you guys. RS impacts manufacture product X. RS impacts manufacture, sorry, RX Limited manufactures 10,000 units of product X. RS Impacts manufacture 10,000 units monthly of product X. Each every 10 units of final product requires 12 kg raw material. Every 10 units of final products require 12 kg of raw material, which can be procured at the rate rupees 100 per kg. Now, when talking about further, the cost of handling the inventory is interest cost at the rate of 1.5% per month, obsolescence cost at the rate of 6.125% per annum, and storage cost at the rate of 7% per annum. The cost to place an order is rupees 100. Calculate economic order quantity. So I request you guys to please solve this question, waiting for your answer. Let's see who answer first. Guys, do make a note of it that read each and every word of the question carefully before approaching the solution. I repeat again, RS Impex manufactured 10,000 units monthly of product X. Every 10 units of final products require 12 kg of raw material, which can be procured at the rate rupees 100 per kg. Further, the cost of handling the inventory is interest cost 1.5% per month. Obsolescence cost is 6.125% per annum, and the storage cost is 7% per annum. The cost to place an order is rupees 100. Calculate economic order quantity. Waiting for your answers, guys. See, Shubham, in the previous question, let me take this question again. See, Shubham, in the previous question, the ordering cost is given in rupees. That is, the cost to place an order is rupees 60. But when talking about carrying cost, it is given in percentage. That is percentage of what? The purchase price. So that's why if the purchase price is reduced to 12.80, yes, my carrying cost will also reduce, na? Waiting for your answers, guys. RS Impacts manufacture 10,000 units monthly of product X. Every 10 units of final product require 12 kg of raw material, which can be procured at the rate rupees 100 per kg. Further, the cost of handling the inventory is interest cost at the rate of 1.5% per month. Obsolescence cost is 6.125% per annum. Storage cost is 7% per annum, and the cost to place an order is rupees 50. Sorry, rupees 100. Waiting for your answers, guys. Okay, I've got answer from Himanshu Pathak. Your answer is incorrect. Suman Banerjee, your answer is incorrect. Manisha, your answer is incorrect. Manisha, let me recheck your answer, please. Okay, I've got correct answer from Manisha. Your answer is correct. Darshan C, your answer is correct. Rajiv Kumar, incorrect answer. Bhumika, incorrect answer. Rajesh K, incorrect answer. Anupam Tiwari, incorrect answer. Suman Banerjee, incorrect answer. Himanshu, your answer is correct. Very good, Himanshu. So I've got, I think Himanshu was the first one to answer. Yes, Himanshu, your answer is correct. Okay, I've got answer from Muninder Tomar, incorrect answer. Anjana Vishwakarma, incorrect answer. Bhumika, your answer is incorrect. Sudhanshu Shekhar, incorrect answer. Okay, I've got answers from Bhumika, incorrect. Yes, Darshan, your answer is correct. Kiran Shukla, incorrect answer. Sudhanshu Shekhar, incorrect answer. Anjana Vishwakarma, incorrect answer. Waiting for the correct answer from few of you guys. Jagat Babu, waiting for your answers. Arya, Bhavani, Mr. Sundar, waiting for your answers, guys. Okay, I've got answer from Suman Banerjee. Your answer is correct. Now your answer is correct, Suman. Darshan, yes, it is correct. Manisha, very good. Your answer was correct. First, Himanshu was able to answer. Thereafter, Manisha. Thereafter, Darshan. Thereafter, Suman. Rest, everyone, waiting for your answers, guys. There are so many students. Mr. Sundar, Shubham, Anjana, Rajesh, Guduri, Rushita, Kiran, Mr. Raut, Avdesh Kumar, waiting for your answers, guys. Again, incorrect answer. Mr. Raut, incorrect answer. Bhavani B, incorrect answer. Supriya Patak, now your answer is correct. Anupam Tiwari, incorrect answer. Shubham, let me check once again what you are asking. So, Mr. Sundar, incorrect answer. Shubham, incorrect answer. See, Shubham, the purchase price has nothing to do with ordering cost. So, since the economic order quantity will ordering cost will be equal to carrying cost at economic order quantity, that is the new economic order quantity. I wish I could, Darshan. So now let's start with the solution part. First and the foremost thing, what we need to calculate economic order quantity is annual consumption. Annual consumption means annual consumption of raw material. So 10,000 units is my final product per month into 12 months. So how much units I am producing? 1,20,000 units. And it is given that every 10 units of final product require 12 kgs of raw material. Every 10 units require 12 kg of raw material. So therefore my raw material required will be how much? Mr. Ahmed, your answer is incorrect, my dear. So 10,000 into 12 into 1.2. So the raw material requirement is how much? 1,44,000 kgs. When talking about the ordering cost per order, it is given in the question, that is rupees 100. When talking about the carrying cost, the interest cost is given per month, so we'll convert it into annual. So 1.5 into 12, that is 18%. Obsolescence cost is anyways given per annum, so this is 6.125%. And thereafter the storage cost, that is 7%. So the total it will be 31.125%. And the cost per unit is how much? Rupees 100 per kg. So 100 into 31.125%. That is 31.125 is my carrying cost. So in that case, to calculate economic order quantity, we'll apply the formula, that is 2 into A into O divided by C. So this will be 2 into 1,44,000 into 100 divided by 31.125. So this will be 962 units. Yes, Vaishali, I got your answer for the first time and it is 960 units. Very good. Yes, your answer is correct. I request you guys to please copy the question and the solution. Few students were able to answer, but still you guys need to practice a lot to solve EOQ based questions. I request you guys to please copy the question and the solution. Yes, Syed. As I told you guys very clearly that half of the work is done if you read the question carefully. So as I told you guys that read each and every word of the question carefully before approaching for the solution. Yes. See Soumyakant Raut. When talking about annual consumption, I have multiplied it by 12. No worries, Anupam. I do expect a correct answer from you next time. Same to Mr. Ahmed. I request you guys to please copy the question and the solution. So now, how much quantity to order? That is, how much should be my reorder quantity? I hope you guys are uh, thorough with the concept how to calculate economic order quantity, what is ordering cost, what is carrying cost. There is a query from Kiran Shukla, sir. Please explain step one. When talking about the step one, that is the calculation of annual consumption, the company was manufacturing 10,000 units per month. It means what? 1,20,000 units annually. And every 10 units require 12 kg. It means every unit require 1.2 kgs. So 1,20,000 into 1.4, that is 1.2, that is 1,44,000 is my annual requirement of raw material. So guys, now I hope you guys are thorough with the concept of economic order quantity. Now, without wasting time, let's proceed further with the remaining part of setting quantitative levels. Now, the next part is, now we know that kitna quantity order karna hai. Now, the second point comes when to place an order. Order kab karna hai. Let me take a situation. Let me take a situation wherein my annual consumption is, let's say, 5,000 kgs of raw material. Let's say my ordering cost is rupees 20 per order and my carrying cost is rupees 5 per unit per annum. Okay, there is a query from Soumyakant Raut that, sir, why 1,20,000 was not taken? So Soumyakant, read the question carefully. This 1,20,000 units is what my final product. And when talking about the annual consumption, we talk about the consumption of raw material. So since my production is 1,20,000 units and every 10 units require 12 kgs of raw material, this is how I got 1,44,000 kgs of raw material. Because annual consumption matlab kya? Annual consumption matlab annual consumption of raw material. They are not talking about the final product. The chapter itself name is material. So raw material, we are talking only about raw material, not the final product. So that point was given to confuse you guys. That's it. So my annual consumption in this question is, let's say, 5,000 kgs. My ordering cost per order is 20 and my carrying cost is rupees 5. So from this information, we can easily calculate that how much quantity we have to order. Very simple. How much quantity we have to order is my EOQ, that is 2 into A into O divided by C. So under root 2 into 5,000 into 20 divided by 5. So how much quantity I should place an order, we can easily calculate. 200 units. So every time I will place an order of how many units? 200 units. So 200 units is what? That kitna quantity order karna hai. Now the question is, at what point we have to place an order? At what point we have to place an order? We call it as the reorder level. That is when to place an order. Now, to calculate the reorder level, we will be needing some more information relating to the usage of raw material and the time that the supplier is going to take to deliver us the product. So let's say this information is given in the question. When talking about the usage of material and the time, when talking about the time, it means what? The delivery time that supplier is going to take once we place an order. मैंने अगर आज order place किया, तो supplier कितने दिन में मुझे delivery करेगा? This is the time. And when talking about usage, मेरा raw material कितना use होता है. So when talking about the usage, let's say the minimum usage on an average is how much? Let's say 10 kgs. The maximum usage is, let's say 20 kgs. When talking about the delivery time, the supplier takes a minimum delivery time of 2 days, and in extreme cases, it may go up till 4 days. So to calculate the reorder level and other levels, we'll be needing the minimum time, maximum time, and the average time also. And minimum usage, maximum usage, and average usage also. Now, if in question the average data is given, then follow the instructions as given in the question. But if in question the average data is not given, then we can easily calculate that is minimum plus maximum divided by 2. So on an average usage of raw material is how much? 15 kgs. And on an average, how much time the supplier is going to take to deliver the product? 3. I repeat again, when talking about usage, it talks about ki every day, ya every month, ya every week kitna use hota hai. And when talking about the time, it is what the delivery time the supplier is going to take once we place an order. Thank you so much, Soumya Kant. It's my duty to resolve all your queries. So now let's get back to this part. The time is running. It's already 9 and I have to cover a few more points. So guys, kitna order karna hai, we have easily calculated. That is called as economic order quantity. Now, order kab place karna hai, when to place an order. For this, we'll be needing additional information. This information will always be provided in the question. आपको क्वेश्चन में हमेशा ये इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोवाइड की जाएगी if they are asking you guys to calculate the levels. So let's say the details of usage and time is given. Now the point is when to place an order. Now guys, हमें order कितना करना है every time? 200 units. Now let's say on a particular day I receive 200 units. What I will do? I will issue to the production department for consumption, and once I issue raw material, my stock will go down. Let's say 200 से कितना होगा? 180 units होगा. Thereafter gradually 150 होगा, 100 होगा, 80 होगा, and then finally 0 हो जाएगा. So as soon as I receive 200 units, मैं क्या करूंगा? अपने production department को raw material issue करूंगा, तो मेरा stock जो है 200 से क्या होगा? कम होगा, और फिर finally क्या हो जाएगा? 0. Now the point is when I should place an order. Order कभी place करना है. Is it advisable to place the order once the stock reaches 0? No, it is not at all advisable. If we do so, then minimum for 2 days I have to shut down my factory, because once I reach 0 and if I place an order, once my stock level reaches 0 and if I place an order, how much minimum time the supplier is going to take? Minimum 2 days he is going to take the time to deliver. And in extreme cases, it may go till 4 days. And for these 4 days or 2 days or 3 days, whatever it is, I'll be in stock out situation and I have to shut down the factory. So it means what? That we should not wait till 0 to place an order. Now the point is when to place an order. Now guys, when talking about when to place an order, we'll be using the pessimistic approach. कि worst से worst क्या हो सकता है? When talking about from supplier point of view, worst to worst क्या हो सकता है? Supplier will take 4 days. I repeat again, guys, when to place an order, we will use the pessimistic approach that worst se worst kya ho sakta hai. From supplier point of view, he will take at least, let's say worst to worst kya ho sakta hai, supplier will take 4 days. And let's say in these 4 days, my demand of my product is very high. So every day I have to issue 20 units to my production department, 20, 20, 20, 20. This is the worst possible situation. So it means what? If I have 80 units in hand, that is 20, 20, 20, 20 for 4 days. If I have 80 kgs or 80 units in hand, I can deal with any type of situation. I repeat again, guys, when talking about order kab place karna hai, the important point is we'll be using the pessimistic approach, wherein we will consider the worst possible scenario. In worst possible scenario, what will happen? कि supplier जो है हमें 4 दिन बाद delivery दे. And in these 4 days, let's say my demand of my product is very high. Every day I have to issue 20 units to the production department. So in these 4 days, how much raw material will be consumed? 80 kgs. So 80 kgs is the point where we can deal any type of situation. Whether there is a delay from the end of supplier, whether my raw material usage is very high. At this point, I can handle any situation. So that is the point, we call it as the reorder level. That is order club place karna hai. Once my stock reaches 80, I have to immediately place an order, because 80 is the point where we can handle any type of situation. So how come we got 80? Very simple, guys. When talking about the reorder level, we can say 20 is what? My maximum usage. Into maximum time. What? If we have 80 units in hand, we can handle any type of situation. There will be no stock out situation and my active production will not be interrupted if we have 80 units in hand. If you guys have any doubts that what is the reorder level, you guys can please post your query. I'm done with reorder level. Waiting for your queries, guys. So once the stock reaches 80, we should place order. So as soon as the stock reaches 80, we should place an order. अब supplier 2 दिन लगाए, 3 दिन लगाए, 4 दिन लगाए, या हमारा consumption 10 हो, 15 हो, 20, we can handle any situation. Waiting for your queries, guys. Again, guys, don't try to memorize the formula. Just think logically that if it is your factory, what should be the reorder level? Just think that it is your business and how you will approach the solution. Just think from that perspective, you'll be able to solve any question. No need to memorize the formulas. So this is all what about that reorder level, that is at what point we should place an order. Now we have 2 points, that is order कब place करना है once we reaches 80. Order कितना करना है? 200 units. That is how much quantity we should order? 200 units. But when to place an order of 200 units? Once my stock reaches at the level of 80. Now let's start with the maximum level. Now when talking about the maximum level, these levels, that is minimum level, maximum level, reorder level, all these are fixed up by management well in advance. And once fixed, they arrange the resources accordingly. अपना godown उस हिसाब से वो rent पे लेते हैं. Let's say the maximum level as set by the management is 8,000 units. Now, if on a particular day, if my raw material is, let's say if I have a raw material in hand that is 8,200 units, what will happen? Either we have to scrap these 200 units or we have to take a separate go down on rent for these 200 units, and that is not advisable. I repeat again, guys, when talking about the maximum level, these levels are fixed up by the management well in advance, and accordingly they do arrange the resources, that is taking go down on rent or arranging the space for storage, etc., etc. So maximum level is the maximum capacity a company can hold the stock. So let's say I have arranged the resources accordingly and I have the capacity to hold max to max 8,000 units. Suppose on a particular day, if I have 8,200 units in hand, what will happen? Either I have to scrap these 200 units or I have to take a separate premise on rent. That is not at all advisable. No company want to boost up their fixed cost. So I hope you guys are thorough with the importance of maximum level. That is, agar ek bar stock maximum level se zyada aa gaya, it means it will be a big problem for the company. So the point is how to set the maximum level, how companies set the maximum level. Now guys, I want you guys to derive this formula. Now, can you guys tell me when we will place an order? Order kabhi place karenge? Very important, guys. I'm waiting for your answers. I request you guys to please post your answer. I assure you, you will be able to frame the formula. Just tell me, guys, when we will place an order. At what level we will place an order in this question? Once my stock reaches how much? Waiting for your answers, guys. When we will place an order? Waiting for your answers. Order kabhi place karna hai? I have already discussed this part, guys. Very good. I have answer from many of you guys. Once we reaches the level of 80, we will place an order. Okay. Once we reach the level of 80 units, we will immediately place an order. Now the second point, kitna order place karenge? How much quantity we will order? Waiting for your answers, guys. Very good, Anisha. Very good, Darshan. Very good, Guduri. Very good, Shubham. Very good, everyone. Very good, guys. Now the next question, at once we reaches 80, we will place an order. Of how much quantity we will place an order? Waiting for your answers, guys. Very good, guys. लगता है सबको समझ में आ रहा है. I've got answers from many of you and everybody's answer is correct. My first question was when we will place an order. Once my stock reaches 80, we will place an order. How much quantity we will order? Yes, I've got answer from many of you guys. Yes. How much quantity we will order? Very simple, 200 units we will order. As soon as my stock reaches 80, I'll place an order. How much quantity we will order? 200 units we will order. Now let's take a situation. I called my supplier that Mr. Supplier, I'm needing 200. Please provide me 200 units. And after 1 hour, I received 200 units. So in that case, we can say this should be my maximum level. That is 280 units should be my maximum level. I repeat again, let's take a situation. If I call my supplier that Mr. Supplier, I want to place an order of 200 units. Please provide me. And within an hour, the supplier delivered 200 units. It means what? I should have the capacity to hold 280 units in my godown. But this is not the case in this question, because on an average, how much time the supplier is going to take? Agar worst possible bhi case ho, so supplier is going to take how many days? 2 days. And let's assume that in these 2 days my consumption is also minimum. Zyada hai to chalo koi problem hi nahi, but my consumption is also minimum. That is 10 kgs per day. So it means what? How much should be my maximum level? 80 plus 200 minus 20, that is 260 is my maximum level. Why I have deducted minimum? Because to get the maximum, we have to deduct the minimum. I repeat again, guys, I'm not calling immediately because this is not possible in this case, because the supplier is going to take minimum 2 days. And let's say minimum 2 days mein usne hame deliver kar diya. And second point, in these 2 days, I was consuming only 10 kgs of raw material. If I'm consuming 15 kgs, then that's not a problem. If I'm consuming 20 kgs, that is not a problem. Problem is when in these 2 days, my consumption was only 10 kg. So in that case, we can easily calculate the maximum level. That is at 260 level is my maximum level. इससे ज़्यादा मैं inventory hold नहीं कर सकता है, and accordingly I'll arrange my resources. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your queries. I'm done with maximum level. So when talking about the formula, guys, very simple. At 80, we will place an order. So 80 is what? My reorder level. How much quantity will place an order? My economic order quantity. Now, worst से worst क्या हो सकता है कि मैंने order place किया and supplier delivers me in 2 days. And in these 2 days, my consumption was also minimum. So minus minimum time into minimum usage. Suppose supplier delivers after 4 days, then too also I'm up to my maximum capacity. If the usage is also maximum, then that is not a problem. So this is my maximum level. That is the maximum inventory I can hold. If you guys have any doubts in maximum level, you guys can please answer. Yes, Anupam. Very good, everyone. I think most of the students are thorough with the concept what I have taught. So guys, I repeat again, when talking about the maximum level, very simple approach, my dear. Order कब place करना है? Once we reaches 80. कितना place करना है? 200. Am I getting the stock immediately? If I'm getting the stock immediately, 280 is my maximum level. But since in worst possible scenario, what supplier can do? He will provide the raw material in 2 days. And in these 2 days, my consumption is also minimum. So what should be my maximum level? This should be my maximum level. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your query. Further, I request you guys to please copy reorder level and maximum level. And don't try to memorize the formula. Please memorize the concepts. I'll be raising this part. I request you guys to please copy the explanation. So guys, we are done with order quantity कितना होना चाहिए, when to place an order, what should be the maximum level. Now let's proceed further with the next part, that is minimum level. Now, I'll be covering your point later on because the time is running. I have to finish this chapter. So now, when talking about minimum level, very simple, guys. When we will place an order, once my stock reaches 80, then we will place an order. And once the order is placed, it will take minimum 2 days, maximum 4 days. It means, and during these days, some raw material will be consumed. It means what? My minimum levels will be below 80. It will be less than 80. So when talking about minimum level, it will be less than 80. Now, how much less? That is very important. Now, technically, guys, minimum level can be 0. Technically, तो minimum level 0 भी हो सकता है. Let's say at 80, I have placed an order and supplier takes 4 days to deliver. Further, In these 4 days, the maximum consumption we have to issue every day 20 units. So technically it can be 0. But yes, still these two situations, that is maximum and minimum situations, happens once in blue moon. Let's say I'm into confectionery business. I'm into sweets business. I'm a manufacturer of sweets, cakes, and biscuits. Now, my demand is high in Diwali and Christmas. And on odd days, my demand is very low. But however, on an average, every day मेरा target complete हो जाता है. So these two situations, that is maximum and minimum, occurs once in blue moon. So on an average, when talking about the daily affair, on an average, I consume how many? 15 units. And on an average, the supplier take 3 days. So let's say order place kiya, and we will getting the delivery, assuming we will getting the delivery in 3 days, and on an average the consumption is 45. It means 80 minus 45, that is 35 is my minimum level. In extreme cases, guys, I'm not denying that suppose in 3 दिनों में क्या हुआ, 20 units issue कर दिए, 4 days supplier ने लगा दिए. Technically, it is possible that the minimum level can be 0, but in general, the minimum level is 35. That is reorder level minus average usage into average time. I repeat again, guys, technically 0 bhi ho. On an average, this is the minimum level. If you guys have any doubts in minimum level, you guys can please post your queries. No, Darshana, I'll be discussing this part also. Don't worry, my dear. Now, one more point there is there, that is danger level. When talking about danger level, let me explain you in a practical way. Let's say I have a motorbike. Once the tank is full, that is my maximum level. Once it is in reserve, only I have left out with fuel. I mean, only I'm left out with reserve fuel. It means that is the minimum level. But let's say on a particular day, मेरी बाइक में पेट्रोल ही इतना है कि I can go to petrol pump. That is called as the danger level. I repeat again कि मेरी बाइक में पेट्रोल ही इतना है कि मैं पेट्रोल पंप जा सकूं. That is what we call as the danger level. So when talking about the danger level, we'll be taking again the average consumption only, because these two happen in extreme situation. Average consumption, average usage into, again इस case में we can request the supplier to provide us the material on immediate basis. So lead time for emergency purchase. Lead time for emergency purchase. This will always be given in question. Given in question. So when talking about the danger level, guys, very simple. We'll take the average consumption into lead time for emergency purchase. I request you guys to please copy the minimum level and the danger level. If you guys have any queries, you guys can please post your queries. Any doubts, Rajesh, Manisha, Bhumika, Mr. Raut, Supriya, Rushita, Sudhanshu, Shubham, Mr. Rajiv Kumar, Rahul Jain, any doubts? This information will be given in the question, Mr. Darshan C. So now let me sum up what I have discussed under various levels. Let me sum up what I have discussed under the various level. Let's say I have a 3-story bungalow and a tank is installed over the terrace. Further, I have a big tank in the underground also, जो pump से जो है पानी ऊपर भेजता है. So let's say I have a tank that is installed on my terrace. Let's say the capacity of the tank is 2000 liters. Let's say the capacity of the tank is 2000 liters. So that is what I call as my maximum level. अगर इससे ज्यादा पानी आया तो वो ओवरफ्लो होगा and it may lead to loss of water also and there are chances that उससे मेरा लीकेज भी हो घर में. So that is called as the maximum level. When talking about the minimum level, somewhat we can say minimum level goes here. It means it is to be used only for the purpose of necessity. I mean जो भी necessary काम है, जैसे utensils wash करना या फिर whatever the necessary work is, you can do with minimum level. So average level will be what? Between maximum and minimum. That is what we call as the average level. Okay, one more point I have skipped. What is average level? We have discussed maximum level. We have discussed minimum level. When talking about average level, it is minimum plus maximum divided by 2. Now, once the water goes below the average level, what we have to do? This is my reorder level. Here, the instruction will come कि भाई pump चालू कर दो, पानी ऊपर कम हो रहा है. That is what we call as the reorder level. Reorder level will be just below the average level and above the minimum level. When talking about the danger level, this is the danger level. कि भाई there is very less water in tank, only use it for the purpose of emergency. No washing of utensils, no showers, no washing of clothes. This is only for emergency. That is what we call as the danger level. And in bungalows, generally what people do, they do keep extra bucket filled with water. कि suppose light चली गई तो, suppose पानी नहीं आया तो in that case generally they do keep few buckets with extra water. That is what we call as the buffer stock. This is my buffer stock. So this is the concept: maximum level, minimum level, average level. Once it goes below the average level and once it reaches the reorder level, better place an order. And yes, if it crosses, if it goes below the minimum level, then it comes the danger level. That is emergency purpose के लिए ही हमें material use करना है. So if you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your query. I'm done with this part of the chapter wherein to how to set quantitative standards. I tried my level best to teach you the concepts and I suggest you guys to memorize the concepts rather than memorizing the formula. It will help you a lot while preparing the exams and while attending the paper. Vaishali, Bidal, I hope this part is clear. What is the difference between danger level and buffer stock? Those who want to copy this part can please copy. It will help you to revise during exams. See, you can prepare the formula on your own version if you try to memorize the concepts rather than formula. Now let's proceed further. I'll be extending the class for more 10 minutes. Those who want to go for their article shift training can please proceed. You can check the recorded lecture. But yes, I have to cover one more point. So now, as I told you guys, in inventory control, there are 4 techniques, in which the first technique is setting quantitative levels. That is the most important part of the chapter that I have covered. Now, the second is on the basis of relative classification. So this part is comparatively very easy as compared to the other part. So you can refer the study material. The next part is using ratios. So I'm discussing the ratio part. So there are 2 ratios that are discussed in the study material, that is inventory turnover ratio. This part is also covered in financial management. A separate chapter is there for ratio analysis. So in this, 2 ratios are important, that is inventory turnover ratio and stock velocity. When talking about inventory turnover ratio, the formula is raw material consumed divided by average stock of raw material. When talking about raw material consumed, how to calculate raw material consumed? We can calculate it like opening stock minus purchase of raw material, plus purchase of raw material minus closing stock of raw material. This is how we will calculate raw material consumed. When talking about the average stock of raw material, very simple guys, opening plus closing divided by 2. This is how we'll calculate the average stock of raw material. When talking about the stock velocity, it talks about the stock cycle. So it is 365/12/52. If you have to calculate in days, it should be 365. If you have to calculate in months, it should be 12. And if you want to calculate in week, it is 52 weeks divided by inventory turnover ratio as calculated. Now, one more point. If the inventory turnover ratio is bit on the higher side, not much high, bit on the higher side, it's a good sign for the company. But if the inventory turnover is less, it means what? Or more funds are blocked in raw material. Let's say my raw material consumed in a year is 1 lakh and my average inventory is 50,000. It means my inventory turnover ratio is 2. It means for consumption of 1 lakh kgs of raw material, I have to keep a stock of 50,000 kgs of raw material. So it is not a good sign for the company. So if the inventory turnover is very less, then yes, it means what? कंपनी के फंड्स जो है बहुत ज्यादा ब्लॉक्ड है रॉ मटेरियल में. So that is not a good sign for the company. But yes, if the inventory turnover ratio is a bit on the higher side, it means what? The stock is fast moving. Raw material जल्दी जल्दी consume हो रहा है और stock cycle जो है हमारा छोटा है. That's what all about ratio analysis. I request you guys to please refer question number 11 of the study material. The question is given straight away, wherein opening stock is given, purchases is given, and closing stock is given. So we can easily calculate the raw material consumed. That is 90,000 is my opening stock, 2,70,000 is the raw material purchase, minus closing stock is 1,10,000. So my raw material consumed is 2,50,000. When talking about the average stock, my opening stock is 90 and my closing stock is 1,10,000. So 90 plus 110 divided by 2, that is 1 lakh. So average inventory is 1 lakh and raw material consumed is how much? 2,50,000. So 2,50,000 divided by 1 lakh, that is my stock turnover ratio, that is 2.5. Further, they have asked us to calculate the number of days for which average inventory is held, they're talking about velocity. So 365 divided by 2.5 days, that is 146 days is the inventory that this is the inventory cycle. So this is all what about ratio analysis. If you guys have any doubts or queries till now, you guys can please post your query. I wish I could, Anupam. So this is all what about the conceptual part of inventory control. If you guys have any queries, you guys can please post your query. Further, I request you guys to solve all the questions of study material, past practice manual, plus the past RTPs, the current RTPs. It will help you a lot. If you practice more, you'll be more thorough with the concept. There is no alternate of hard work. Jitna practice karoge, utna concepts clarity hoga. Again, don't try to memorize the formula. Try preparing your own formulas. You will be, trust me guys, by the end of these sessions, you will be the master of costing. But the point is, you have to practice a lot and focus on concepts rather than memorizing the formula. So waiting for your queries, guys. We are done with this session. So waiting for your queries, last 5 minutes for you guys. Anyone else having any queries? Any doubts? Thank you so much, Darshan. So, okay, guys, that's it for the day. I'll be back with the next chapter, that is overheads. Labor, one of my colleague faculty is taking the labor cost. So I'll be taking care of the rest of the chapters from overheads. So in the meanwhile, as I suggest you to solve as maximum as possible questions from study material, past practice manual, etc., etc. Thank you so much for your time and patience, and thank you so much for participating in the session. See you soon with the next chapter, that is overheads. Take care. See you soon.